Clomp, clomp. Every time I walk, there's always a loud sound. Since I was young, I've suffered from a condition where one leg is longer than the other, known as hemihypertrophy. Because the leg length discrepancy had to be corrected, I always had to wear a bulky orthotic device. I was always the last to move between classes at school, and instead of walking with friends, my mom always had to drive me to and from school. Even though everyone else seemed to be having a lot of fun, I couldn't join in. The number of times I've clenched my teeth in frustration was too many to count. Fortunately, the treatment went well, and I was able to get rid of the device in middle school, but the bullying I faced in elementary school left me introverted. Until I became an adult, I lacked confidence in myself and was terrible at talking to people. But a turning point for me came. I was the sort of person who was always nervous and was bad at speaking, so it was unexpected that I was assigned to the sales department. With the help of my senior colleagues, I gradually started to enjoy conversing with people and began to gain confidence in myself. Then, one day, I received an invitation to an elementary school reunion. Feeling more positive, I decided to take the plunge and attend the reunion. I sent an email to the organizer and let him know that I was coming. My name is Michael. I'm 27 years old, working for an IT company. I moved from my hometown to New York and haven't been back home for a while. I was really looking forward to this reunion in my hometown, and uncharacteristically, I even bought new clothes for it. I knew it was just silly pride, but I wanted to show everyone how much I'd changed. This feeling most likely stemmed from my old inferiority complex, and I was well aware of that. But the fact that I wanted to surprise everyone was an enormous step for me, and a sign of my growing self-confidence. On the day of the reunion, full of determination, I headed back to my hometown. The hometown I hadn't seen for a while was bustling with life, especially at night. Was it always this lively? I was slightly surprised to see the town had changed. I walked towards the reunion venue, occasionally checking my phone for the exact location of it. Entering the pub, which was the venue, I noticed it was already full of my old classmates. Although they were all my classmates, I only knew them from school. It had been over 10 years since I last saw them. Few faces looked familiar, but even my own memories were vague. Is that him? Could she be? As I made my way through, someone suddenly tapped me on the shoulder from behind. Michael, right. Long time no see. I heard you moved to New York. How have you been? As if that was a signal, everyone turned around, and I was quickly surrounded. There were those who were unrecognizable with the glasses on, those who had grown taller or put on weight, and even some who were already concerned about thinning hair. Every face was filled with nostalgia and warmth. No one mocked me. In fact, most people I spoke to had something kind to say, and even if it was just flattery, I felt elated. They said that I became cheerful, that I looked totally different. Some even called me handsome and said I looked cool. I was flattered by all the compliments, except for the last one, which to me sounded like an old insult. For someone who used to be called nerdy and introverted, I was doing well and now part of everyone's circle. I believe it was because of the experiences and confidence I gained in the workplace. Trying to maintain my composure, I was actually overwhelmed with happiness. Of course, it wasn't just the guys. A big part of why I felt so good was because even the girls started to see me in a new light. Back in elementary school, I was quiet, keeping a low profile in class, so being surrounded by so many girls made me feel like I was in a dream. I wish I could show this to my younger self. That was what I thought to myself several times since arriving at the venue. Holding a pint of beer in my hand, I was happy to reconnect with familiar faces. But honestly, there was one girl I especially wanted to see at this reunion. Her name was Ashley, a girl who was the belle of our class. With her wide eyes and silky hair, she was a very pretty girl and looked like someone you'd see on TV. Moreover, she was calm and kind, and treated everyone the same way. During my school years, she was always on my mind. She was the only person who cared about me and came to talk to me as I had no friends. Her kindness kept me from becoming chronically absent from school, and gradually, the bullying towards me lessened because of her. To me, she was nothing short of a lifesaver. I wanted to see Ashley again, so I could express my gratitude for her kindness. I casually looked around, desperately searching for her. Amongst the high-pitched voices of women exclaiming, "Long time no see, and what have you been up to?" I heard someone call out, "Ashley." I turned around in a hurry, and there, among a group of girls, stood a woman in a navy dress with her elegant back facing me. Judging by the familiar silhouette, I thought it must be Ashley. Even from behind, her aura was distinctly different from the others. I caught my breath, hesitating to approach and speak to her. Then suddenly, she flipped her hair and turned around. It was Ashley, no doubt about it. She had maintained her youthful features, and if anything, had grown into an even more refined and beautiful woman. "Michael, Ashley, long time no see." I walked up to her, and I stood face to face with Ashley. But standing in front of her, I felt a sense of discomfort. Although hidden by her hair, I could see scars from burns stretching from her face down her neck. They extended to her hand holding a glass of wine, significantly marring her once perfect appearance. She must have been in some kind of accident since we last saw each other. Trying not to stare at her scars and hoping Ashley didn't notice, I forced a wide smile, and Ashley responded gently, "It's been a while, have you been well?" I could tell she knew what others thought of her physical condition. Yet, her attitude of enduring and accepting the curious stares was admirable, and she was the same Ashley I had fallen for back then. I can't believe she came to the reunion looking like that. She looks like a monster, so creepy. I couldn't bear it if I were her. Cruel whispers reached my ears from behind. Turning around, I saw a few girls speaking ill of Ashley in barely audible voices. Ashley, hearing them, remained composed and calm. She was probably used to such situations. I couldn't believe how cruel those girls were. They used to be her close friends back in the days. Were they feeling satisfied by Ashley's altered appearance? A pang of pain and rising anger welled up in me. How can you say such awful things? Ashley hasn't done anything wrong, has she? Don't pick on my fiancé, please. My protective instinct led me to say something outrageous. My fiancé, wasn't there a better way to say it? Regretful, but it was too late. There was no turning back now. What? We weren't even talking to you. Why don't you leave us alone? The girls retorted dismissively, and then drifted away like the receding tide. Ashley, relieved to see them go, yet seemingly apologetic for causing me trouble, looked at me with an indescribable expression. She looked sad, frustrated, and embarrassed. Seeing her like this made me feel uneasy. "Let's step outside for some fresh air." Ashley looked up and whispered in a voice so soft that no one else could hear. I thought it was a good idea. I nodded silently, and we both slipped away from the reunion. Once outside the pub, under the cold winter sky, the full moon seemed higher and more beautiful than usual. We found a park nearby and sat down on a bench together. Every now and then, a cold breeze blew, and I hurried to find a vending machine to buy 2 warm drinks. Ashley had been silent since we left the pub. Trying to change her mood, I brightly offered her a drink. "Here, would you like some warm coffee or cocoa?" She thanked me and chose a can of coffee, holding it in her hands to warm them without opening it. "Sorry about earlier, I went too far. I just wanted to shut them up, so I impulsively called you my fiancé. I didn't even understand why I called her like that." Being in an unfamiliar situation might have made me feel more tipsy than I thought. As I was puzzled, Ashley finally looked up. "Michael, you really surprised me. We haven't seen each other in over 10 years, and suddenly we're engaged. But I was happy you defended me against the backstabbing. Thank you, really," Ashley said, smiling brightly. I was expecting to be scolded, but instead, she thanked me and smiled happily. I was even more confused, but her kindness was just like it was back in elementary school. Always cheerful, considerate, and not taking things negatively. Her unchanged strong spirit reassured me, and I wanted to know what happened to her. Sensing my thoughts, Ashley began to speak hesitantly. "Michael, I need to tell you about my scars. A few years ago, the cafeteria where I worked caught fire, and I got these injuries then." She brushed her hair aside, showing me the scars. She explained that there were more scars hidden under her clothes. Even in the dim moonlight, I could see them clearly, and I almost wanted to look away. In that fire, a senior co-worker who tried to protect me died. As the building collapsed, she shielded me with her body and got me out. Ashley tearfully spoke about that time. She said she'd still dream about the fire, waking up from nightmares and not being able to sleep afterward. "Every time I see my scars, I remember the fire vividly. I used to be afraid of people seeing them, but now I'm just grateful to be alive. I have to live strongly for the person who protected me from the fire. It's only recently that I've started to think positively about what happened." I didn't know what to say. Despite the misfortune, she was living with such determination. When I was teased and mocked for my disability, I was always thinking negatively about myself. But Ashley was moving forward, trying her best to face reality. "Ashley, you're an amazing person, just like you were back then." I spontaneously expressed my feelings. "In elementary school, your willingness to treat me normally encouraged me. I thought I could repay you today, but I guess I still have a long way to go." As I said this, Ashley suddenly burst into tears. "What have I done?" I hurriedly offered her a handkerchief. "I'm sorry for crying all of a sudden. Even though I try to think positively, sometimes I wish I could go back to my old self. So when you said I hadn't changed, it made me so happy." "Thank you," Ashley said, smiling through her tears. Her face, now calm, was as bright and cheerful as I remembered from the past. I felt relieved and reflected on my own past. Me, wearing an orthotic device, limping as I walked. Ashley would carry my textbooks and bring me school lunch. During lunch breaks, as I couldn't play outside running around with others, she would stay with me indoors, sometimes just the two of us, playing games. "It will surely get better." Ashley was the only one who ever said such things about my leg. Even when I was cynical and sullen, she encouraged me, telling me about the places we could go to once my leg treatment was over. Ashley was always there for me, offering encouragement and support. She was the reason why I've been able to avoid pessimism and make it this far in life. Now, it was my turn. I wanted to be the one to support Ashley, like she did to me years ago. I made up my mind. "Hey, Ashley, if you're okay, would you like to go out for a meal sometime? I'd really like to see you again." To be honest, I'd never asked a woman out before. But I had nothing to lose. I thought I should just express all my feelings towards her. "Are you sure you're okay to go out with someone with big scars? Wouldn't you rather ask out someone pretty?" Her response could be taken as a no. But for me, it was more than enough. I responded, "It's fine, I'm free all the time anyway," revealing my lack of dating experience, and Ashley chuckled. Seeing Ashley laugh out loud for the first time in a while filled me with joy. After that, we started seeing each other more often. Surprisingly, Ashley had also moved to New York and was working while saving up for skin regeneration treatment. Our dates were simple, often just eating the lunch Ashley made in the park. We couldn't afford to go to expensive places, but seeing Ashley's modest and diligent side just made me happy. We were drawn to each other and naturally started dating. The incident at the reunion, and also the fact that we came from the same town, played a big part, but we never explicitly said let's be together or directly expressed our feelings. It just became natural for us to spend time together. The reason why I became aware of how our relationship was progressing was that I started to seriously think about marriage. I wanted to spend the rest of my life with Ashley. No matter what, I wanted to be there for her, who always brightened my life with her cheerfulness. Also, from a financial perspective, it made more sense to live together rather than separately. That was how I came to think about our future. And then it suddenly hit me. I hadn't even told her about my feelings for her. I was pretty sure we were in a relationship, but I'd never directly said I love you, and I also wondered how Ashley felt about me. This sudden insecurity overwhelmed me. Given that this was my first ever relationship, I didn't really know how to deal with my feelings. But I needed to find out if Ashley and I were on the same page. One weekend, as usual, I was waiting for Ashley in the park when she appeared, slightly flustered, as if she thought she was late. "Sorry I was late," Ashley apologized, and I told her that she wasn't late at all and that I arrived early. "Hey, how about we go somewhere else for a change? Maybe to a department store or something." "What? But I made lunch for us," Ashley replied, surprised by my suggestion, opening her bag to show me the sandwiches in a plastic container and soft drinks. As I suggested we eat the lunch on the rooftop of the department store, Ashley sensed the unusual atmosphere and became tense, asking, "What's going on? Why the sudden change?" I scratched my head, took a deep breath, and confessed, "I want to get you a ring. It would look cool if I knelt down and pulled out a ring, but I have never been to a jewelry shop and don't even know what size of ring I have to get for you. I apologize, everything seems to be out of order, but I want to marry you, Ashley. Right now, I want to go to the department store to buy a ring for a proposal." When I finished with what I wanted to say, Ashley froze, her mouth agape, then suddenly started laughing. I knew it was awkward and deserved the laughter. But seeing Ashley laugh through her tears, I gradually became annoyed. I was about to say, "Stop laughing," when I realized Ashley was actually crying. "Crying while laughing," she said, "too late." For a moment, I didn't understand what she meant. "You already said I was your fiancé." As soon as I heard those words, I instantly calmed down and apologized, "Sorry to keep you waiting." After that, we officially became husband and wife and started living together. With our finances more stable, I was able to get Ashley several surgeries. Thanks to her enduring the tough treatments, the scars from her burns have become much less noticeable. "Now I can finally wear a wedding dress," she said with a smile. Every time I see Ashley's happy smile, I feel truly fortunate to have met her.